Good morning, APA students and staff. It's Miss Harvey here. Despite leaving in January, the power of media has allowed me to record this assembly for you all today. This week's quote comes from Lord Krishna, and the quote is, "The greatest contentment comes from devotion alone and not from its rewards. Therefore, one who has this devotion seeks nothing else." Today's assembly is the power of media, and specifically the use of the hashtag and the positive influence this has had on events in the last year. Before we move on, let's familiarise ourselves with some key words that will be discussed in today's assembly. Media means any forms of communication, such as film, television, radio, print, and e-media, our newest form of media, which stands for electronic media. Gen Z, lots of you would be in this age bracket, is the newest generation, born between 1997 and 2012. Our third keyword, hashtag. Lots of you are probably familiar with a hashtag, but to remind you, it's a way to connect social media content to a specific event, theme, or conversation. It also makes it much easier for people to discover posts about things that are linked to the hashtag. And our final keyword, digital footprint. Your digital footprint is everything you leave behind as you use the internet. Any comments on social media, your app use and email records is part of your online history, which can always, even if it's been deleted, be seen or tracked in a database. Let's consider the impact of media today with a true or false. You might want to use the chat function here to guess each of these statements. Number 1, 45% of the population are connected to social media. Number 2, the average time someone spends on social media is 3 hours a day. Number 3, as of January 2019, 500 million stories were published daily on Instagram. Number 4, WhatsApp delivers over 100 billion messages a day. And number 5, the media has the power to influence people's behaviour. Let's see how we did. Number 1 is true. Number 2 is also true. Number 3 is true. Number 4 is true. And number 5, that's up to you to decide. Do you think that the media has the power to influence your behaviour and the behaviour of others? Someone who did agree that the media has power to control was human rights activist Malcolm X. And he once very famously said, "The media is the most powerful entity on earth." Entity means body or group. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and make the guilty innocent. And that's power, because they control the minds of the masses. Masses just means population or group of people, large group of people. I want you to think about this. Do you agree with Malcolm here? Do you agree that the media has the power to control us? Could this power perhaps be used in a positive way or in a negative way as well? Moving on, and as I outlined earlier on, a hashtag is a way to connect social media content to a specific topic, theme, or conversation. Think about some of the hashtags that you've come across on your own social media. Has this allowed you to then go on and seek more information about a post? Despite it feeling like quite a negative time in society, I wanted us to spend some time in this assembly thinking about some of the most popular hashtags from the last year and the really positive impact that these hashtags have had. When the pandemic struck, Captain Tom Moore wanted to give something back to the healthcare staff who had put their lives on the line for all of us. He said to our NHS heroes, "You are entering into something when you are putting yourself in danger, and you're doing it for the good of the people here. You're doing a marvellous, marvellous job." The initial plan was for Tom to do 100 laps of his garden at 50 metres a time before his 100th birthday. He hoped to raise £1,000 for NHS charities. £38.9 million and counting later, Tom has inspired a whole nation and drawn the praise and admiration from people all around the world. And that is because of the power of the hashtag that trended on Twitter, Walk with Tom. For those of you that follow sport and in particular football, you may have noticed in the last year that at the start of games, lots of footballers have taken a pledge by going on one knee before the start of a game. Sky and Kick It Out have formed a groundbreaking partnership to champion inclusion and combat discrimination in sport. And Sky have pledged a £3 million investment over the next 3 years and will use their media platforms and the hashtag Kick It Out to fight for equality and inclusion in football. Sir David Attenborough has called for the world to cut back on its use of plastic in order to protect the oceans. His BBC series Blue Planet 2 demonstrated the danger that this material is causing to marine life. And a new report by Global Web Index found that the phrase, the Attenborough effect, had actually led to 53% reduction in single-use plastic over the last 12 months. And the hashtag plastic pollution really helped spread and influence this positive power of change. And finally, a more recent example of how the power of media, and in particular social media, has been able to influence people. Children in America who were too young to vote or were just voting for the first time created really politically driven content and encouraged hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok to get out and vote. Check out this video that explains how the power of social media has influenced the Gen Z generation to become more engaged in politics.
All right, let's talk now about how teens are making a difference in this high-stakes election thanks to TikTok. Yes, the popular app TikTok is helping kids become more engaged with politics and encouraging their parents to get more involved. Our Rachel Scott joins us from Washington with more. These kids can't even vote, but they're having an impact on the process, Rachel.
Yeah, that's exactly right, TJ. And you know this app for its viral online videos, but we are talking politics here. And TikTok is becoming an online battleground for the next generation of voters, those who are too young to vote, finding some creative ways to get involved and stay engaged. This morning, as the campaigns make their final pitches, they're getting an unexpected assist on TikTok from teens.
I just want to give you a couple more facts that you should think about when deciding who you're going to vote for.
Kids too young to vote or just voting for the first time are part of what's being coined the Gen Z revolution, creating and running politically driven social media accounts like TikTok for Biden with over 800,000 followers and Republican Hype House with nearly 1 million followers.
I'd like to think of our account as a easier way to get involved politically, especially for that younger crowd.
And even forming super PACs. Jackie Nee started Meme Pack when he was 17, using TikTok to engage his peers to vote and working to limit the spread of misinformation.
Truth is very important to our organization, and we try to stand by it, and we don't try to nitpick or misrepresent.
For the youngest generation of voters, it's important to get the facts and get out the vote.
I've been living here in the United States for almost 30 years, but this is the first time I'm going to vote to make a change and be a voice for my kids also. I'm not crying.
Jenna Limalaiba was convinced by her 3 daughters to vote this year for the very first time. The girls say they are politically engaged thanks to TikTok.
Unfortunately, I couldn't vote in the last election, and I made a promise to myself, and I also started bugging my parents, okay, next time we're all gonna vote together.
Did you ever think that it would be your daughters that would encourage you to get to the polls?
Not really, but they're persistent. I started listening to them, and then I realized that it really is for their future.
And in this high-stakes election, social media platforms are working overtime to keep young people from seeing false or misleading information. But according to the experts, spotting misinformation lies heavily on the users.
Once we flag something, it then goes to the teams that actually run their moderation policies. These days, it seems as though a lot of the young people are aware of this problem.
And for this family, the future of politics might look a lot like this. And these first-time voters say do not underestimate their political firepower. More than 15 million young voters have turned 18 since the last presidential election, and now comes that last-minute push to get them out to the polls, TJ.
All right, Rachel, thank you for that. And that piece was inspiration for Robin to start a TikTok account.
That's right.
Look for it coming soon, folks.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.
I would like to end this assembly with some time to reflect. When we think about the media and power, we might think about those big corporations such as TikTok, Instagram and Snapchat, and the work of influencers with thousands, if not millions of followers who try and spread lots of news, be it positive or negative. However, anybody with a device holds power. Something I encourage you to think about is the power that you have online. Remember your digital footprint, and this will always be tracked. So before you post, I want you to always think. Is what you're posting true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, or kind? If the answer to any of those is no, I urge all of you to rethink this, because your digital footprint will always remain. If you want to educate yourself further on the topic, please feel free to use any of the links below. Thank you so much for listening, and have a fantastic week.